Morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring.
Word on the street is that after Tom Brady's retirement and divorce is that his life and career has taken the worst turn ever. At a time in the NFL world, Brady, who won 7 Super Bowl rings and was one of the most decorated quarterbacks the NFL has ever produced. However, people have started calling his story a tragedy. Here's what that story actually looks like. The 199th pick. Tom Brady was born on August 3, 1977, in San Mateo, California. He played college football at the University of Michigan. Before the 2000 NFL draft, he ran the 40-yard dash at the scouting combine and clocked a time of 5.28 seconds. Scouts wrote him off. His combine photo, taken that same day, showed a young man in white shorts who looked like he did not belong at a professional football event. That photo would become one of the most circulated images in the history of the sport. 198 players were drafted before the New England Patriots selected him in the 6th round. Pick number 199, a compensatory selection the team had received for losing a punter. Brady's own family had expected him to be picked in the 2nd or 3rd round. He signed a 4-year deal worth roughly $1.2 million, with a signing bonus of $225,000. He arrived in Foxborough as the 4th-string quarterback, behind Drew Bledsoe, John Freese, and Michael Bishop. In his first NFL season, Brady threw 3 passes for 6 yards. He ended that year as the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart. Then came week 2 of the 2001 season. Drew Bledsoe took a hit from Mo Lewis of the New York Jets that ruptured blood vessels in his chest and put him in a hospital. Brady came on. He went 5 for 10 for 46 yards. The Patriots won. He started the following week, and every week after that for the rest of the season. New England won Super Bowl 36 that year. Brady was 24. He was named Super Bowl MVP. The 4th-string quarterback had gone from the end of a depth chart to the champion of the NFL in a single season. He kept going. Over the next 20 years, Brady led the New England Patriots to 9 Super Bowl appearances and 6 championships. In 2020, he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a free agent and won a 7th ring in his first season there, Super Bowl 55. He won it at 43, making him the oldest Super Bowl MVP in history. He won the NFL MVP award at 40, making him the oldest at that too. By the time he played his last regular season game, Brady held every major passing record in NFL history. Most wins, 251 in the regular season. Most playoff wins, 35. Most passing yards, 89,214. Most touchdowns, 649. Most Super Bowl appearances, 10. He was named to the Pro Bowl 15 times. He won 3 NFL MVP awards and 5 Super Bowl MVP awards. The average NFL career lasts approximately 3.3 years. Brady played for 23. He retired at 45. The numbers do not follow any logic that applied to anyone else, and yet they are all on record. But building something on that scale costs something. You do not play 23 seasons in a league designed to end careers before a player's 27th birthday without giving the game everything. Your schedule, your diet, your relationships, your body, your sense of who you are. And when the thing that received all of that eventually ends, a question follows. What is left? In 2020, while Brady was still a champion, still one of the best players in the league at 43, he said this in an interview about the day his career would eventually be over. I've already thought, okay, when it does happen, I'm feeling a huge void and I don't know where that huge void is going to go. He was at the top, he was winning, and he was already afraid of the silence that was coming. His first retirement lasted 40 days. He announced it on February 1st, 2022, following his 7th Super Bowl win. By March 13th, he was back in the league. Unfinished business, he said. But the pull was more straightforward than that. The game was the structure. Without it, the structure did not exist. The 2022 season, the one he came back for, ended with an 8-9 record and a first-round playoff loss, his first losing record as a starting quarterback. And 6 weeks into that season, on October 28th, 2022, Brady and his wife of 13 years, Gisele Bündchen, announced their divorce, filed and finalized on the same day. No courtroom drama. A joint statement posted to Instagram in the middle of an NFL season. Brady played out the rest of the schedule. The Buccaneers lost in the wild card round. He walked off the field at Raymond James Stadium and did not come back. He retired for good on February 1st, 2023, exactly 1 year after the first announcement. To understand how the most accomplished quarterback in the history of the position ends up standing alone on a beach filming himself on a gray morning, you have to understand the machine he built to get there, what it demanded, what it consumed, and what it left behind when it finally stopped running. The machine. life. The reason Tom Brady played until 45 in a league that grinds players into early retirement was not an accident of genetics or luck. It was a system so precise, so all-consuming, and so relentlessly demanding that it turned every corner of Brady's life into an instrument of performance. He called it the TB12 method, detailed in his 2017 book, The TB12 Method: How to Achieve a Lifetime of Sustained Peak Performance. The method was built on a single obsessive idea: keep the muscles of the body pliable, long, soft, and supple rather than tight and rigid, and reduce inflammation through every available means. Where most elite athletes built strength through conventional weight training, Brady rejected it almost entirely. Roughly 90% of his training came from resistance bands, functional movement, deep tissue body work, and mobility work. No heavy lifting, no bulking. The philosophy was that tight muscles break, pliable muscles bend. What he put in his body was equally controlled and equally radical. His diet was approximately 80% plant-based: vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes, with 20% lean animal protein. He cut out nightshade vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, potatoes entirely. No dairy, no gluten, no refined sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol. He drank between 12 and 25 glasses of electrolyte-enhanced water every day, sometimes approaching 2.5 gallons. He was in bed by 9 or 10 o'clock every night, in a room kept at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, sleeping 8 to 9 hours without deviation. Every morning included massage, meditation, and brain training exercises. He tracked everything: meals, sleep cycles, hydration levels, recovery metrics. This was not a diet. It was a lifestyle so rigidly structured and all-encompassing that it colonized the atmosphere of the home the way a second job might, except this one never clocked out, never took weekends, and never allowed for an exception. Gisele Bündchen, his wife, adopted the method alongside him. Their children were raised within it: organic herb gardens at their Brookline estate, smoothies, carefully controlled meals. The quiet discipline of the TB12 lifestyle applied to everything from grocery shopping to bedtimes. From the outside, it looked like two high-achieving people who had aligned their values and were thriving. And for long stretches, perhaps that was exactly what it was. But the TB12 method existed in service of something larger, something that would not allow its demands to be secondary to anything else. Not family dinners, not school plays, not the rhythms of a marriage, trying to sustain itself across 2 careers and 3 children and multiple cities. Football was not a job Brady went to and came home from. As he told Mark Leibovich of The Atlantic, sports is very real time. What you see on that field from me is really me. It's not an actor. This is my life. These are my real emotions. This is real joy. This is real anger. This is real disappointment. Football was not what Brady did. It was what Brady was. And the TB12 method was the infrastructure designed to let that identity run indefinitely, at the cost of everything flexible and secondary. The physical record of what that cost the body is documented in fragments. In 2008, Brady tore his left ACL and MCL in the first game of the season against the Kansas City Chiefs. He underwent reconstructive surgery in California and then developed a serious staph infection requiring multiple additional procedures. He missed the entire 2008 season, the only season of his career lost to injury. He came back and won 2 more Super Bowls. Then came 2020. Brady played the entire Super Bowl winning season with a fully torn MCL in that same left knee. The injury dated back to his final season in New England. He had known about it since April of that year. He chose not to have it addressed until after the championship in February 2021. Then came what he described as pretty serious knee surgery, far more involved than any initial reporting had suggested. He had played through a blown-out knee for an entire season, won the Super Bowl, and told almost no one. And then there is the matter of his head. In a May 2017 interview with CBS This Morning, Gisele said that Brady had suffered concussions. He has concussions pretty much before stopping herself. Brady's agent denied any diagnosed concussion. The NFL said there were no records of one across his entire career. Brady himself never confirmed it, but he also never categorically denied it, saying in a 2017 interview only that Gisele knows when I'm sore, when I'm tired, when I get hit, acknowledging her perspective without addressing the substance of what she had said. No official concussion diagnosis has ever been released for Tom Brady. The question of what 335 regular season games and 48 playoff games, thousands of hits, hundreds of sacks, due to a human brain over 23 years is one that neither the NFL nor Brady has been inclined to answer directly. In retirement, Brady spoke honestly about the where. He mentioned elbow pain that had pushed him toward an earlier exit more than once. He described the TB12 system as what made the difference between quitting in his mid-30s and playing into his mid-40s. He said he would not change anything, but the machine extracted more than just physical cost. It demanded total mental absorption, the kind that leaves everything outside the game dimmer, quieter, less urgent. And that quality of attention has consequences for the people closest to a person carrying it. His father, Tom Brady Sr., told The Atlantic Atlantic shortly after the final retirement announcement, nothing will ever replace the joy Tommy had playing in football games, hanging with teammates, and joshing around in the locker room. Somehow he's going to have to find a substitute for that, just like every other guy has. He said it with the pride and the worry running in the same sentence. In January 2024, Brady merged his TB12 wellness brand with fitness apparel company No Bull, becoming a significant shareholder in the combined entity. And then, 2 years later, Brady announced on social media in January 2026 that TB12 was winding down entirely, folding into No Bull, the brand absorbing the brand. The wellness company named after him, built around the method that had defined how he lived for over a decade, was closing its chapter. The machine, brick by brick, was being taken apart. What he had built in those 23 years was extraordinary by any measure, but the story of what it cost to sustain it at that level for that long is the story most people never got to see in real time. And the place where that cost landed most heavily was not in a training room or on a practice field. It was at home, in a marriage that began as one of the great love stories of the early 2000s and ended in a joint Instagram statement mid-season in October 2022. The perfect life that wasn't. They met on a blind date in December 2006 at a wine bar in New York City's West Village called Turks and Frogs. A mutual friend, someone Brady has referred to simply as Ed in interviews, made the introduction. Brady later called it the one phone call that changed my life. Giselle described the moment she first saw him with the kind of language that belongs in a film. The moment I saw him, he smiled and I was like, that is the most beautiful, charismatic smile I've ever seen. We sat and talked for 3 hours. I had to go home for Christmas, but I didn't want to leave. Brady was freshly out of a relationship with actress Bridget Moynihan, who shortly afterward announced she was pregnant with their son Jack. Giselle was coming off a high-profile romance with Leonardo DiCaprio. Both of their lives were mid-turn. They started dating in January 2007, and from the first moment they were photographed together, the world decided they were something to look at. They married on February 26, 2009, in a small private Catholic ceremony at St. Monica Church in Santa Monica, California. A Thursday evening, immediate family only, planned in roughly 10 days. Giselle wore a custom Dolce & Gabbana ivory lace gown. Brady barbecued steaks at their Brentwood home for the reception. He said it was a great night. Then, in April 2009, they held a second ceremony at Giselle's property in Costa Rica. Roughly 25 guests, white orchids, a sunset, 2 ceremonies, 2 countries, a love story staged across the best of both of their worlds. Their son, Benjamin Reen Brady, was born December 8, 2009, in a home birth that Giselle had insisted on. Their daughter, Vivian Lake Brady, arrived December 5, 2012. Brady also co-parented Jack from his prior relationship. 3 children, a life that, from the vantage point of a magazine cover or a social media post, looked exactly as it was supposed to look. Their real estate holdings told the same story of abundance. A sprawling Brookline, Massachusetts estate with an organic herb and vegetable garden Giselle described as her sanctuary. A custom, eco-conscious Brentwood home, later sold to Dr. Dre for roughly $40 million. A New York City apartment. And after Brady's move to Tampa Bay in 2020, a $17 million waterfront estate on Indian Creek Island in Miami, 30,000 square feet, 7 bedrooms, a lap pool, and boat lifts on one of the most guarded islands in Florida. Private jets, red carpets, Super Bowl celebrations. 2 people who had, against the odds of everything that usually pulls power couples apart, built a life together that looked like it was working. And then, in 2015, the pressure arrived. The Deflategate scandal broke that January. Allegations that New England Patriots personnel, with Brady's knowledge, had deliberately deflated footballs used in the AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts. What followed was 4 months of investigation, a damning Wells report, a 4-game suspension that Brady fought and eventually got overturned in federal court, and a media storm that surrounded him from every direction. Multiple sources described Brady during the Deflategate period as stressed, withdrawn, nasty and irritable, and very difficult to be around. The pressure did not stay at the facility. It came home. Benjamin was 5 years old. Vivian was 2. Giselle was doing the majority of the daily parenting while managing her own career, and the emotional weight of a husband burning under the weight of a national scandal. Reports described Brady coming home and collapsing on the couch rather than engaging with the children, and then losing patience with them when they acted out. One insider told people at the time, there's a lack of effort for sure, but what annoys Giselle more is when Tom yells at the kids. She feels he should be more patient. The couple attended couples therapy. At the lowest point of the summer of 2015, Giselle reportedly consulted a divorce lawyer, a detail reported at the time by multiple outlets and confirmed again in 2022 retrospective coverage. marriage. They did not separate. They went to therapy, worked through it, and moved forward together. And then Brady won 3 more Super Bowls. Giselle was in the stands for all of them. They stayed. They endured. And from the outside, the 2015 crisis looked like a chapter they had moved past. But a crack does not disappear just because the surface has been patched. What 2015 had revealed, Brady's capacity to absorb himself so completely in the game that the people around him became secondary, almost invisible, during the periods of greatest professional stress, was not something the therapy had removed. It had been managed, it had been survived, but it was still the shape of who he was. Giselle had been scaling back her own career long before the divorce. She walked her last runway in 2015. She restructured her life around the family, around the children, around the rhythm of a football season that dictated everything from where they lived to when Brady was emotionally available. In her 2023 Vanity Fair cover story, she described the growing distance between them in language that refused melodrama. Sometimes you grow together, sometimes you grow apart. When I was 26 years old and he was 29 years old, we met. We wanted a family. We wanted things together. As time goes by, we realized that we just wanted different things. Not a betrayal, not a blow-up. Just 2 people who had changed in different directions, slowly and quietly, over 13 years of Super Bowls and TB12 smoothies and cross-country moves and children growing up. Then, in February 2022, Brady retired, and Giselle, by the accounts of those close to her, had started to imagine the next phase, one where his career no longer dictated the calendar, one where the balance she had been waiting for might finally arrive. 40 days later, he unretired. She later described reports of an ultimatum as very hurtful, and the craziest thing I've ever heard, stressing the unretirement was just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. But even in rejecting the headline version of the story, she acknowledged the moment as clarifying, the moment that made undeniable something that had been accumulating for years. Brady missed 11 days of Buccaneers training camp in August 2022 for what the team described only as personal matters. No further explanation was given. The divorce announcement came on October 28th. By then, everyone already knew what had been building. The question was only how it would end. A lot of going on. August 2022, Brady walked back into Tampa Bay Buccaneers training camp after 11 days that the team had not explained and that the media had spent speculating about. He stepped up to the microphone, looked at the reporters in front of him and said, "You know, I'm 45 years old, man. There's a lot of going on. So you've just got to try to figure out life the best you can." Nobody in the room was entirely sure what he was talking about, but the weight of it was audible in every syllable. The 2022 NFL season unfolded like a slow unwinding. The Buccaneers went 8-9, Brady's first losing record as a starting quarterback since the year 2000. He threw for 4,694 yards and 25 touchdowns, but the momentum the team had built over the previous 2 Super Bowl adjacent seasons had dissolved. The wins were a grind. The losses were deflating. The environment in the locker room was nothing like the dynasties Brady had built in New England, nothing like the electric, wide-open Buccaneers offense of the 2020 Super Bowl season. And 6 weeks into it, the news that had been circling the edges of the sports media world for months became official. Brady and Giselle Bündchen finalized their divorce on October 28, 2022, filed and finalized on the same day, mediated and resolved through a prenuptial agreement that compressed what could have been a months-long process into a single afternoon. Both posted statements to Instagram that were gracious, careful, and nearly identical in tone. Brady said, in part, "In recent days, my wife and I finalized our divorce from one another after 13 years of marriage. We arrived at this decision amicably and with gratitude for the time we spent together." Then he went back to playing football. The Buccaneers lost their wild card game to the Dallas Cowboys on January 16, 2023. Brady threw for 351 yards in a 31-14 defeat. He walked off the field at Raymond James Stadium and did not come back. On February 1st, 2023, exactly 1 year after his first retirement announcement, he posted the video from the beach. Then he said he would not be long-winded.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring. For good.
That you only get one deeply emotional retirement statement, and he had already used his.
I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first, so.
No ceremony, no fanfare, just a man alone on a gray Florida beach pressing record. The Atlantic's Mark Leibovich described the imagery with striking precision. Tom Brady all alone in a world of gray. The rows of anonymous high-rises behind him, the overcast sky, the flat, cold-looking water. He wrote that football had been Brady's island of directness in a world of circumspection, the one place in his life where everything was immediate, honest, and unambiguous. Win or lose, the score was right there. The game told you exactly where you stood. Without it, there was no scorecard. There was no next game. There was no clear signal of whether he was doing well or failing at the enormous, shapeless task of figuring out what came next. 3 years earlier, he had described the prospect of leaving with a clarity that now seemed like prophecy. You need a purpose when you wake up every morning. When I don't have the purpose of football, I know that's going to be a really hard thing for me. He had been right. And in January 2026, on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, he finally described what the 2022 season had actually felt like from the inside.
Yeah, my last season was tough.
Brady was not talking about a losing record or an offensive line that had underperformed. He was talking about something heavier, the experience of trying to play football at the highest level while his life was falling apart in a different room.
I had a lot of, just a personal, a family issue, and it was a challenge.
His marriage, 13 years, 3 children, the shared TB12 lifestyle, the Costa Rica ceremonies, the Miami estate had been dissolving in real time while he was calling plays in the huddle and studying film in the evenings.
It just took a lot out of me in terms of, my ability to continue to play.
He said he had tried to give his teammates and coaches everything. He said he wished it could have been better at the end. And then he called it a unique situation and a unique year. A unique year, an 8-9 record, a divorce finalized in week 8, a retirement video filmed alone on a beach in February. In the months after that video, Brady worked with extraordinary energy to construct a post-football life. He acquired a minority stake in the Las Vegas Raiders in October 2024. He took his seat in the Fox Sports broadcasting booth for the first time in the fall of 2024, having deliberately delayed the start of his $375 million 10-year contract by a year. He launched charitable events. He played in flag football tournaments. He went to his children's games. He filled the calendar with everything the calendar could hold. And then, in March 2026, he was asked a question.
All I'm going to ask you is if you have looked into the NFL rules of a minority owner temporarily coming back.
The question was hypothetical, but Brady's answer made clear it had not been hypothetical to him.
I actually have inquired, and they don't like that idea very much.
At 48 years old, 3 years removed from the game, with a landmark broadcasting contract and a stake in an NFL franchise, Tom Brady had formally asked the NFL whether he could come back and play. The answer from the league was no. His Raiders ownership stake created structural conflicts that made a return as a player essentially impossible without divesting entirely.
So I'm going to leave it at that.
He delivered that line with the composure of a man closing a door, but then he added quickly,
We explored a lot of different things, and I'm very happily retired.
Life after the cheering stops. December 3rd, 2025. In the backyard of a quiet home in Surfside, Florida, surrounded by close family and a small gathering of friends, Gisele Bündchen married Joaquim Valente, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor she had been seeing since late 2022. The marriage license had been filed 2 days earlier in Miami-Dade County. The ceremony was private, intimate, and designed to be invisible to the outside world for as long as possible. The world found out 16 days later when TMZ broke the story on December 19th. The couple had welcomed a baby boy together in February 2025. The child's middle name was River, water, like the middle names of her other children, Benjamin Rain, Vivian Lake, and now River. On January 28th, 2026, Gisele posted rare photographs from his first birthday, a carousel of quiet, glowing family moments, a toddler on a toy pony, a balloon, afternoon light. She described 2025 in her caption as a year of deep lessons and profound growth, and wrote that becoming a mother again had reshaped everything: my time, my priorities, my heart. She had found her new life, and by every visible measure, it fit her. Sources close to Bündchen described the marriage as bringing a depth of peace she had not felt in years. One told People that it had made life feel more meaningful, that she felt really happy being married, in a way that was different from the high-pressure, high-profile intensity of her years with Brady. For Brady, the news of the remarriage arrived differently. A February 2026 report from the National Enquirer, syndicated by Yahoo Sports, cited an insider who stated plainly, "It's common knowledge that Gisele's marriage hit him hard." The same report described his post-divorce dating life as a series of distractions rather than fulfillment, a pattern of high-profile rumored connections that had not added up to anything resembling what he had once built. Since the divorce, Brady had been linked to Russian supermodel Irina Shayk in 2023. That one faded after several months. His name appeared alongside Kim Kardashian's in the tabloid speculation industry. In late 2025 and into early 2026, he was photographed spending time with influencer Alex Earl over New Year's Eve in St. Barth's. Videos circulated, outlets ran with them. Brady made no comment. None of it looked like what he had lost. None of it had the weight of 13 years and 3 children and a beach house on Indian Creek Island and 2 Super Bowl rings won during the same marriage. Hours after the wedding news broke in December 2025, Brady posted to his Instagram stories a close-up selfie, a white hoodie with the words "Forever Young" printed across the chest. Outlets immediately began interpreting. A source close to Brady offered a quieter reading to Page 6. He was happy for her in the way that is simple. He's happy that she is happy. Co-parenting, sources told Us Weekly, remained functional and civil. Communication strictly limited to Benjamin and Vivian, both now teenagers, old enough to navigate 2 households, 2 continents, 2 separate lives. Brady tried to stay neutral. He focused on being present, attending games, events, the things he had said in his retirement announcement he wanted to be there for. And publicly, he kept moving. The Fox Sports broadcasting career had been received well. Early reviews were positive. The transition into the analyst role smoother than the skeptics had predicted. He had an ownership stake in the Las Vegas Raiders and a separate minority stake in the WNBA's Las Vegas Aces. He launched 199 Productions and produced documentary content. He captained a team in the Fanatics Flag Football Classic in March 2026, broadcast on Fox, playing alongside current NFL stars in a game tied to the sport's push toward Olympic inclusion. Flag football eyed for the 2028 Los Angeles Games. In his March 2026 newsletter, 199, Brady wrote about what he was still working toward. "My goal is balance. My list of things to learn and work on is part of achieving that goal. They recharge my social battery. They stimulate my head and my heart and my body." Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.